How many of you have a mug collection? This is just one of many that resides in my cupboards. Every morning when I have made my coffee, I have to go and decide which mug I'm going to drink out of. And the mug that I choose is sort of just by feel, what shape do I want to hold in my hands? It's also depends on if I'm going to sit at my desk and drink my coffee or if I'm going to be going somewhere, so I need to take it in a travel mug. Sometimes it's about what's on the mug. So like this one is not about, this is from South Dakota. It's from a place that I've been, but mostly it was about, I just wanted the biggest mug I could carry this morning. In a similar shape as this one, and I really like this one because it feels good in my hand. I put my pinky down here in the little groove. This one I got because it makes me laugh. It's a little small for my coffee, but it actually works really well for the bourbon at the end of the day. If you have a travel mug, then it'll keep it hot all day. You know that a travel mug is going to work for sitting at your desk, but if you want to travel, something like this isn't going to work really well. A, it's going to spill, and B, it's going to get cold really quickly. So we pick our mugs for drinking our coffee or tea based on their purpose and what we're going to be doing with them beyond just the simple act of drinking our coffee. I'm sure you weren't expecting a video about cameras and about picking cameras to start out with a discussion of mugs, but it actually is a really good analogy. So for me, the question about what camera should I buy comes down to what is the purpose? What kind of photography do you envision yourself doing? Now, this isn't asking you to sign your photography life away and commit to I will be an action photographer forever. Or I have no intention of doing any action and I just want a simple camera. So you can change your mind. It's okay. You can upgrade. There's lots of options for that. But I think if you're going to invest $1,000 or more dollars, you should at least take the time to think about what it is you ultimately envision yourself doing. If you want to do portraits, if you want to do things that are sitting still, whether it's landscapes or macro photography, or portraiture, then you don't need a camera with as many bells and whistles. You can get a camera that is a little bit cheaper and doesn't have as many features if you're going to do something that is less intensive in terms of how much action's going on in the scene. And really that's what it comes down to. How much action is there going to be? And if you're going to be doing action photography, you eventually, even if you don't start out this way, but you eventually are going to need a camera that is pretty fancy and costs a lot of money. While the common, the saying is it's behind the camera is what matters the most, that isn't necessarily the case when you get to action. So if you're going to be doing action photography, you need to kind of set your sights on something a little more advanced. Do you have to start there? No, absolutely not. So if you want to do portrait work, landscape photography, almost any camera out there in terms of a DSLR or a mirrorless camera is going to work for you. It does not need to be high end. It does not need to have a lot of frames per second. It doesn't even need to necessarily have a lot of megapixels. It can be just a camera. If you're going to be doing action, you need to set your sights a little bit higher. So if you're going to be doing action photography, eventually, we're not talking about right away, but eventually, you should be looking at a mirrorless camera. DSLR technology is great to a point, but the way the tech is going, you should be looking at a mirrorless camera. I'll break down the different options in a blog post, but for right now, the question you have to answer for yourself is, what mug do you want to drink your coffee from?